Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And spooky season is here.
Maybe this Halloween season we will be facing some of our fears.
As we often do. Now, we do want to do a little bit of a tangent. We're not going to do the spookiest games for the season. Instead, we're going to talk about phobias.
Phobies.
As we like to call them.
Phobies.
Phobies. Now, we have researched the 10 most common phobias.
Or at least we found a list that says it's the most common.
Is it an accurate list? Maybe not. The internet is a wild, wild place. But what we're going to do is we're going to tell you about these phobias, and then we're also going to tell you about games where you can either face those phobias or avoid them.
Maybe you'll just want to avoid the game that we're about to recommend.
Because sometimes you don't know that your phobia could be in the game.
Exactly.
And then you're playing it and you're like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So we're here to help.
Without further ado, though, let's hop on into the first phobia.
Which is?
Acrophobia.
The fear of heights.
And our recommendation for this one is rolling heights.
Now, it is in the name.
It's spot on, actually.
And there are very tall buildings in this game. The way that you'll acquire the tall buildings is you'll roll little meeples. And how they stand, fall, or go sideways will depend what you get. As you compete to build tall buildings, you'll realize there's skyscrapers all around.
Yeah. And if you've ever looked out of a skyscraper, personally, that can be a little terrifying.
It is, even looking up at them, because sometimes they like lean over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't like that.
They'll definitely have a little bit of lean in this game.
We live in Edmonton. We don't really have skyscrapers.
Not very big ones.
No.
Anyways, that's rolling heights.
Now, the next phobia we want to take a look at is Aerophobia.
Aerophobia.
Which is?
I do want to take a pause. Some of these, like, phobias, which I find really fascinating, are, like, very on the nose. Like, you can tell what they're about. And then others, I'm just like, where did that come from?
Well, as long as you know Latin, you'll know all of them.
Oh, I do not know Latin. But if I were to take a guess, just kidding, I'm pretty sure I know. Aerophobia is the fear of flights?
Flying.
And what better game to face your fear or avoid than Sky Team, where you will be attempting to land and fly a plane successfully as a cooperative two-player game.
Now, what I like about this one is you actually have the control. Because typically flying, you don't have the control if you land, if anything bad happens.
Yep.
But here you are the pilot. And if you don't communicate, or if you don't take the right coffee break,
I was just going to say, you're not supposed to
crash
communicate
landing
in this game.
Well, you are. You have to make meaningful eye contact.
Yes. You are allowed to have moments of conversation before both of you roll your dice, but it is essentially a dice placement game where you will be working together to land a plane.
And make meaningful eye contact.
Yes. Make sure you are successful and work through the entire campaign. I can't remember exactly how many missions there are, but there's a lot of game in this box.
And there's an expansion coming too, so there's a lot of airports you can land in.
There you go. That's Sky Team.
Now up next we have the classic, Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia.
Which is?
Fear of snakes.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
I know. It's the fear of spiders.
Now, here's a fun educational tidbit. You may have heard of a game called Hive. Now, we have the Pocket Edition here. And, you know, looking at it, you're like, there's probably no spiders in here.
It's bees.
False.
There
is, in fact, spiders in here. So this is a good warning that if you do have arachnophobia, you can avoid the game, because also it's on a tile, so you can flip the tile, spiders right there.
Gone. Or gone. Or gone.
Or gone.
Yeah, there you go.
You never really know. This is a really fun head-to-head tile placement game where you're placing all sort of bugs and trying to surround
your bee, the other person's bee.
The other person's bee, I believe.
Yeah. And it's a nice little like chess-esque type game where all the insects in this game have different like abilities, so you have to like strategically use them and move them to maneuver your way into a successful victory.
And it has a little travel. Yay.
Hive.
Almost smacked you in the head.
Oops.
There you go.
Next up, we actually do have the fear of snakes.
Ophidiaphobia.
Ophidiaphobia.
And the game that we chose to pair is Great Plains.
Great Plains.
Now here you'll either be the foxes or...
The foxes, yes. Yep. Or
the
snake.
snakes. I was waiting for you to say the snakes.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, foxes rolled off the tongue, and I was like, is that right?
Is there another name for a group of foxes?
I don't know. I think an ox and oxen.
Not a phobia?
No, not a phobia.
Not a phobia.
Anyways, what are we doing in yet another 2-player game? Look at us go.
Well, here you'll take a roll of the foxes or the snakes, and you'll traverse the lands, and it's a little bit of an area control type of perspective. Now, what I like about this is you can either face the snakes, so literally face your fear, or you can play as the snakes.
Yes.
And get familiar with them and face your fear in that way. Or, again, you can avoid the game altogether.
Exactly. That's Great Plains.
What plains are you going to visit?
Maybe Sky Team Plains.
You weren't going to slither away with it?
No.
That was a great opportunity.
Missed opportunity. I can't go back.
Next up we have Cynophobia.
Which is the fear of dogs.
And to pair it, we have...
Dog park. You could also actually just go to a dog park if you were willing to face your fears. But this game is filled with them. It's literally about running a walking business, and you're going around training and walking dogs around the dog park.
You can also learn about all sorts of breeds of dogs.
So many.
There's almost every breed in this game.
Yes. Yeah.
There's probably more breeds out there, but there's a lot of breeds in this game.
There are. Yeah.
So you get to see all the furry little friends, and you can face them or not face them. There's also squeaky toys.
There are. There's like balls and there's sticks.
There's
things that you would expect dogs to like
at a dog park.
And honestly, for what this game is, which is basically like you start off bidding, trying to get the dogs, and you bring them into your little dog park or little kennel, kennel, and then you decide moving forward which ones get to go on walks, which ones stay in the kennel. Who knows?
You can start with the little dogs and work your way up to the big dogs.
Exactly.
And that is...
Dog park! Next up, we have Trypanophobia, which is...
the fear of injections. Now, no one likes the flu shot.
Exactly.
But sometimes it needs to be done.
And where do you get those shots?
The clinic.
The clinic. That's why we're recommending clinic.
Now, this is a complex game.
Oh, yes.
You're managing the clinic in every single aspect. Where are your cars going to be parked? How much staff are you going to have? How many injections are going to be made?
When do you decide to build upwards? There's a lot going on in this game, and I will say that if you're a heavy gamer that is looking for something that's like very about optimizing a game, Clinic is definitely worth checking out. Obviously cautioning against the whole if you don't like injections kind of thing.
Well, the game is so heavy, you could be so distracted trying to make your strategy work, you could forget about the injections that happen in the hospital itself.
That is true. It is quite stressful to try and manage your own hospital.
Once, my hospital went bankrupt and failed.
We had to start the game over.
Yeah, because my clinic wasn't successful. Everyone wants a successful clinic.
Exactly. And that's Clinic. Next up, we have Astraphobia,
which is the fear of thunder and lightning. Zeus himself.
Game-wise, though, we're going to recommend checking out this, yet again, another heavy game called Weather Machine.
You thought you want to control the weather. Well, here you are.
Here's your opportunity.
You can control when and where that lightning strikes.
Yes.
And the loudness of the thunder. You actually cannot do that. I was just kidding.
But this game is exactly that. You'll be working through building this, basically like operating an invention that helps you create different weather. And you get to kind of decide how you're going to navigate through that. Will it be for the benefit of you? I sure hope so, because that's how you win the game.
Everyone loves good weather, and you can be a part of it.
And that's a Weather Machine.
So now we have Agorophobia, which is a fear of being alone in a situation where you cannot escape. So being in a crowded room or being in a room where you just can't leave.
Yes.
And the game that we have for you today is...
Groundhog Day, the game.
Now you may be familiar with the movie, but in the movie, the same day keeps repeating. And that day is Groundhog Day, which is my favorite holiday.
Yeah. But you'll be doing that in this game as well. It's a little bit of a puzzle. You'll be trying to navigate through making your day more and more like it should be.
The perfect
day.
But you'll be reliving the same things.
Exactly.
And you'll feel almost trapped in them.
Almost trapped. I think this one was the hardest one for me to like come up with a recommendation for.
Well, the Groundhog Day is a great recommendation because it would not be a good feeling to be stuck in the same day again and again and not be able to do anything about it.
No, it would not.
No.
And that's Groundhog Day.
Now we have Mysophobia.
Mysophobia.
Which is?
Fear of germs.
And dirt.
And dirt.
Uncleanly things.
Uncleanly things. And what is more not messier? What is more messier? What is more messier than a food fight? Well, it's definitely not the game food fight.
Food fight.
But you will basically be simulating a food fight in this dice chucking game where you'll be rolling, just looking at the dice, and throwing away the appropriate food from your plate onto other people's platters. Thankfully, we're not throwing them at each other. But
almost. We're throwing at each other's plates and we're grabbing the new food and it's all messy.
And it's a race to empty your plate.
And you're just touching all the different components and everybody else's as well.
Yes.
So, we'll have to be careful with the food fight.
Exactly. I really like to throw the popsicles.
Because they melt.
Because, well, yeah, they would in real life. That's true.
And in the game.
Yeah.
They could. And that's Mickey and Friends Food Fight. Last but not least, we have Social phobia.
Well, that one sounds like a good recommendation.
Well, what is it?
Oh, it's the fear of social situations.
Exactly. You can't just expect people to know.
Which is what we're going to be doing in Decorum.
In Decorum, you're trying to cohabitate with another person. And
maybe 2, maybe 3.
And you're living the true introvert life and you're trying to communicate to them in a very limited way.
Yes.
By passive-aggressively moving furniture and coloring walls. Your preference. But you're trying to find the preference of everybody in the same house. And that may not be the same. And sometimes you'll paint the same wall 6 different colors in the same day.
Thankfully, because we're playing a game, there's always a right answer that you can find yourself in. But it is about having those awkward, uncomfortable situations where you're not quite sure what your roommates or partners might be looking for.
Passive-aggressive confrontation.
Exactly.
That's Decorum.
That's what you'll find in Decorum.
You will. So that has been 10 phobias, or phobies, as we like to call them.
10 phobies.
And 10 games to face those phobies, or to avoid them.
Yes, exactly. And for the question of the day, what do we got?
What is your phobia? What fear are you facing this Halloween season?
Or maybe you're not facing it, you just have that fear. Let us know down in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video...
You're not going to tell them your phobia? Your phobia?
My phobia is talking about my phobia. I don't know what my fear is.
I don't think I have arachnophobia, but I definitely don't love spiders. I make Tyler deal with the spiders. Yeah. Once there was a really big one in our basement, and I didn't like it.
I don't think I have any phobias. I have a big fear of drowning.
I'm sure that's a phobia.
Yeah.
In fact, it is.
Oh.
I researched it after this video and let you in on the education.
And then awkwardly just pointed to the screen while I watched, wondering what he was going to do.
Exactly. Maybe that's it.
Maybe that is it.
Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video,
hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, because we make weekly board game content where we talk about board games on a weekly basis.
And phobies once a year.
That was pretty redundant. Not the phobies part, but what I said. Anyways, we'll see you in the next one. Bye!